This module reviews monthly progress conferences. Monthly progress conferences are commonly referred to as an MPC. Monthly progress conferences between homeroom teachers and homeroom students are required to be completed and logged within the first 2 weeks of every month. Only certified teachers can complete and log monthly progress conferences per state rule. Teachers cannot create bulk monthly progress conference notes. The notes must be made one by one per student because individual data is used as evidence for each student in the note. Students must take part in the monthly progress conference conversation before a conference can be logged. Parents cannot take the place of the student in the monthly progress conference. A student will complete 2 types of conferences in each term, either trimester or semester. The first monthly progress conference is always based on the student's first count day. Student's first count day month upon initial enrollment for a student, as well as the first month of a new term for all students. Subsequent month conferences are monthly progress conferences that are completed after a student's first count day month conference until the end of the term. So a student's first month conference could be satisfactory or unsatisfactory. And the criteria for each category is different. A student will earn satisfactory progress in the first monthly progress conference of the term if they have completed at least one assignment in any course and the student confirms access to all courses. If during the student's first count day month, at the time of the conference, if they have not completed at least one assignment or confirmed access to their courses, they earn an unsatisfactory first month monthly progress conference. And that means an intervention plan will be required. The terminology that you'll hear the most at Insight regarding monthly progress conferences is whether or not a student is SAT, as in satisfactory, or unsatisfactory. So for this first month of the term, for students that count for the month of September, you will receive a list from the office. They could either be satisfactory if they completed at least one assignment and confirm with you that they have access to their courses at the time of your conference, or you will log them as unsatisfactory in September if they have not completed an assignment by the time of the conference or cannot confirm that they have access to their courses. Each month in the term after the first month, the criteria will be a little different on what is expected for a student to be satisfactory or unsatisfactory. For high school students, most students have at least 4 courses on their schedule. And for students to earn satisfactory progress in those subsequent months, they need to have a passing average in each course with exception given to one course. And this includes their ORN 300 class. So if they are passing all of their courses with the exception of one, then they would have made satisfactory progress in those subsequent months. And that is what you would log for the student. If they have 3 or fewer courses on the schedule, they need to be passing all courses in order to maintain satisfactory progress. If the student is not meeting the satisfactory requirements, then they will need to be logged as unsatisfactory during the time of the conference. And this does require intervention planning. So how do you hold the conferences? The preferred method for a satisfactory conference is by Class Connect or phone. You need to notify the student that they have met satisfactory progress requirements at the time of that conference. And you can discuss with the student what they need to do to maintain the satisfactory status. You are more than welcome to celebrate the success with the student. And you do need to save a screenshot of the student's gradebook evidence at the time, because you will need to paste that gradebook evidence into your satisfactory conference note. So you need to be able to prove that the student was satisfactory at the time of the conference. An unsatisfactory conference is similar. The preferred methods are Class Connect or phone. And you need to notify the student that they have not met satisfactory progress requirements based on their current grades or progress. You should discuss the intervention plan for the month, discuss what they can do to improve in their courses. You also need to note and let them know that they can still earn satisfactory progress by the end of the month if they follow through and raise their grades up to meet satisfactory progress. At the time of this unsatisfactory conference, you still need to log the gradebook evidence and log the unsatisfactory note. And your gradebook evidence should show that they were not passing enough classes to make satisfactory progress. Here's an example of a total view school note. And this example is walking you through how to log a satisfactory conference, monthly progress conference note. And for all monthly progress conferences, you will use templates. And so for the satisfactory conference template, there is a Washington Progress SAT_month template. So this is for satisfactory. When you select this template, it's automatically going to populate some information for you regarding a satisfactory conference. The subject line that's populated for the satisfactory template is always going to be SAT_month. Part of your editing will need to be taking out the word month and changing that word month to the first 3 letters of the month of the conference. If this was a September satisfactory note for a student, this would read SAT_SEP for September. You'll need to do that for every note, every monthly progress conference note. After populating the satisfactory template, you should see this information in the body of the note, and you will enter the information that is requested. And it walks you through what to do. Was the satisfactory conference held with the student on the date the note was logged? Yes. And you would put an X here, yes. If it was not, if say you did the conference yesterday, but you logged the note today, you would put no. And then it says, if not, what date was the conference held? You would enter the date here, and then you would have to add a monthly progress tag to the top and adjust the date that automatically populates to the date that the conference was held. Were any additional people involved in the conference? You would list, if they were, who they were, legal guardian, learning coach. What method of two-way communication did you use to hold the conference? And then at the bottom, it says evidence in support of the satisfactory monthly progress determination. For most conferences, it will be pasting their grades. So you need that gradebook evidence. It could be either their grades that show up on their tiles that you can see for the student, or it could be the grades that you saw in courses and classrooms for that student in Total View School. So once you complete that, you'll hit save, and that will conclude your Satisfactory Monthly Progress Conference. If it's a first month progress conference and it doesn't require grades, you can simply explain that if the student had completed an assignment, and also let you know they had access to their courses. The unsatisfactory conference follows the same format, but it requires additional information. If a student makes unsatisfactory progress during the monthly progress conference, you will use the template that says WA for Washington, progress unsat, and enter month. Unsat means unsatisfactory, enter means intervention. So this note is presenting the unsatisfactory progress of the student, and also it will document the intervention plan that you discussed with the student. So when you select the unsat template, it's going to populate all of the information that is required to meet the unsatisfactory intervention plan requirements. So similar to the SAT note, when you choose this template, it will say month here, and you will have to update month to the first 3 letters of the month that you are holding the conference. And this gives you an example of what a September subject line would look like. And then you would also complete the prompts here that are populated in the body of the note. Was the unsat progress conference held with the student on the day the note was made? Yes or no? If no, what date was the conference held? You would enter that here. And then you would need to tag the note as monthly progress. And then enter the date that the conference was actually held by the tag note. Were additional people involved in the conference? Yes, you can describe their role. And then what was the method of two-way communication that you had with the student for the conference? Was it phone, Class Connect, or other? And the evidence in support of the unsat monthly progress conference determination needs to be entered here. And again, that could be by pasting their grades that reflect that they were not passing the number of classes that they needed to, if it's after the first month. Or if it's the first month, you confirm with the student that they had not completed any assignments yet. They had, grades of 0 so far. Nothing's been graded. You didn't see anything completed. Or they also let you know that they don't know how to access their courses yet during the time of the conference. The second part of an unsatisfactory note is the intervention plan that is required. You will need to answer any prompts about when it was communicated. And then you will enter the number at the bottom here, which of the above was implemented, 1, 2, 3, or 4. You'll put the numbers here, the game plan that you make with the student. Generally, 1 or 3 are used as the intervention. 1 is increasing the frequency or duration of contact for the purposes of enhancing the ability of the teacher to improve student learning. This means the student should attend more class connects, should attend intervention sessions if they're being scheduled for those. And then number 3, modify the student's learning goals, behaviors, or performance objectives. Number 3, you can give the student a new goal to reach before the end of the month. And that can be a basis for changing them to satisfactory by the end of the month if they meet that goal. So once you've selected one of these, you hit save. And if you see a link to a survey, you can ignore that. This is for our sister school, WAVA, and it does not apply to INSOP. So there are some very important reasons not to delay completing the monthly progress conference with each student. So you should have monthly progress conferences completed for all of your homeroom students within the first 2 weeks of a month. So that means that you should be having conferences that first week of the month, every month. And then also that second week of the month, if you still have leftovers to complete. If a student has unsatisfactory progress at the beginning of the month, but works to earn satisfactory progress via either the intervention success by the end of the same month, or if they bring up their grades to meet the normal requirement for satisfactory before the end of the month, you actually can log another monthly progress conference for that same month to override the first note. So in a given month for a student, whichever MPC note is the last one logged in that month is the note that will be recorded for the student. So this is a really important to not postpone any monthly progress conference meetings based on how student is doing. Don't hold or delay if you see that a student would be unsatisfactory. You need to hold that unsatisfactory progress because the student still can become satisfactory before the end of that month, and you can use that as leverage. So use that intervention process, let them know that they still have time to become satisfactory. They can bring their grades up, or they can work on the intervention goal that you set up for them in the UNSAT conference. And if they make that goal by the end of that same month, they will have earned satisfactory progress. They're making progress towards those goals. You can audit your MPC work. Double check the subject lines for your notes. The most common mistake and feedback that you'll receive from the office as far as corrections usually is forgetting to change the month in the subject line. Double check your TVS notes by mid-month to make sure that you see a completed note for all of your homeroom students that were enrolled on that count day. Review your compliance data reports that are sent from the office. They will help steer you towards who needs the conference. Communicate any issues with your direct administrator as needed. And then this last line here says, document and monitor your own progress using your own homeroom compliance spreadsheet. Many teachers do track and log each month's status for each of their students on their own spreadsheet so they can correctly monitor who's they've completed and who they need to check on by the end of the month. And lastly, there is a thing called automatic satisfactory, and you will hear the term ZZ-SAT used. And these students can be automatically sat in those subsequent month conferences after the first initial conference of the term is held. So anytime a student has logged a satisfactory monthly progress conference, they could potentially qualify for an automatic satisfactory progress conference the next month. unless the term ends and resets. Students who qualify for an automatic satisfactory monthly progress conference will have their monthly progress conference logged by the office. In order for a student to qualify for an automatic satisfactory conference, all of the following must be true. The student ended the previous month with a satisfactory conference, and the student maintained passing grades in the required number of courses on their schedule by the first school day of the following month, which is known as the count day. So if they had a satisfactory progress conference the previous month, and then on the first school day of the next month, which is the count day, if they're passing the appropriate number of classes to make satisfactory, the office will automatically log those students for you. And you will receive a list from the office each month. So you should hold off on logging any conferences in a subsequent month until you receive the list from the office, because that list will show you which students do not need a conference. They're automatically sat, and their notes will already have been logged. So this concludes monthly progress conferences. This document is saved in the playlist, so you will need to go back and review it and use it as reference. Please save it. You may need to watch this video a few times. This is one of the most complicated compliance items of homeroom. If you have any questions as you are completing conferences or logging those notes, please reach out to your mentor or direct supervisor.